Hello, Decide Your Destiny crew, and welcome to another podcast episode. Today, we've got Michael Forman. Michael Forman is renowned for his exceptional communication skills and distinguished expertise in the realm of networking, and he is an author of the book Networking Unleashed, which he adeptly transforms into an engaging and financially rewarding experience. Michael stands as a leading authority in the field of highly sought after for his captivating presentations on the subject. Through his extensive repertoire of engagements, he has consistently contributed to the substantial enhancement of corporate profitability. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Michael is a distinguished veteran of Desert Storm, a testament to his commitment to service. While he finds great fulfillment in public speaking, his foremost devotion is to his wife and two sons, with whom he resides in Cumming, Georgia. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you on. And anyone that follows the Decide Your Destiny network and the Decide Your Destiny community and myself, what I've been a big proponent of has been networking. I'm actually in a regional town of Western Australia, basically down the bottom of Western Australia, and we launched a networking group here that I launched up in Perth, and we grew it to 5 groups up in Perth, which is about 5 hours north, which is the capital of Western Australia, and launched one down here last year. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of networking. It does work.
Good.
But it depends how you work it. So I'd love to hear.
Absolutely.
Love to hear a little bit more about what could, I guess, a reader find in Networking Unleashed. What are some of the big tips that you have with networking?
Well, it's really amazing. I come from New York. I'm about 6 years down here in Georgia. In New York and New Jersey, I created 2 networking groups, and like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and both flourished. What this book is really about, and what I am all about, is after the pandemic, people lost their heads. They lost how to function, how to communicate with one another, and I don't take that lightly. I mean, it's a serious problem. So that if anything, this is the major problem: the cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's everything, and the book I teach. I don't really teach. I instruct. I help along, just from the handshake and the eye contact, all the way through the rapport and the follow up. And I've actually done an entire workshop just on the follow up. That's how important that is.
Yeah, brilliant. And there's no escaping like AI and technology, and there's no escaping the phone. I often think about it because I've trained up younger, so I was doing photography, younger apprenticeships and younger kids, and helping them with those social skills, and realizing the biggest challenge, and something I'm grateful for, being 31, is that I had to confront, and I had to get up at the front of the class, and I didn't get to say, oh no, I'm not feeling too well. You still had to go and present a project, and you had to be put on the spot. How would you say we can, the younger generation, the future, how can they begin to build some of that repertoire of social skills that help them in networking, given that they are so reliant on the phone and the digital and the internet?
Well, my first thing is put the phone away. Okay. But it's more than just taking the phone and turning it upside down and leaving it on the desk. Okay. Because the other person still sees that and still knows that if it rings, if it lights up, you're still going to look at it. And that's going to detract from our conversation.
Yeah.
And just so after they do that, even when they're first introduced, shake their hand. Okay. Shake their hand, not like a dead fish, just like
Yeah.
a good, firm handshake, and looked them in the eye.
Yeah.
Look them in the eye, give them a handshake. How are you, Mr. or Mrs. So and so? And listen, I'm an Air Force vet. Military is a big part of who I am. And everybody was Mr. and Mrs., whether they're younger than me or older than me. It did make a difference.
Mm.
But if you have that courtesy and respect, then you'll go a lot further. And I just want to add that we'll probably get into this a little bit later on. But when you're networking or you're going into an office and you don't know anybody, you give the same respect to the janitor as you do the CEO. Okay, it shouldn't the person doing their job shouldn't be you shouldn't act different because of their position. You have the courtesy and respect for everybody.
I love that. I love that. And would you say that your time, you know, Desert Storm, like going through the army and having those disciplines and having that sort of that not necessarily, okay, you got to have a strict situation, but you know what's right and what's wrong. You've got a clear you're able to distinguish what's the to do thing and what's the not to do thing. Do you think that really helped you?
Well, as a person, it did. Okay, because I went into the military a little bit later in life at 21 instead of the normal 18, 19-year-old. And it really put me on the road teaching me left and right. I was fortunate. My mother was very good at bringing me up. Okay. But really, right from wrong, that was really set me on the stage for doing all of this. And, in the military, because I achieved a higher rank faster than most would, I had to learn how to talk to people that were younger than I was and people that were older than I was. And you have to talk to them a little differently and do a little more with kid, gloves. But I'm still able to talk to it. And later on in life, with I got into mortgages, and I was a business owner, pizzeria, restaurant, that type of thing. Um, you learn how to handle everybody differently. But when I really got into the networking of it and the speaking to the people, I mean, truly speak to them, then you learn a lot. And really, the most important thing you have to remember is not to talk. Let the other person talk. You know, and that goes into the rapport building. After you shake their hand, look them in the eye, and everything, and you sit down, you have anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, let's say, to build that rapport. And that's so important because that I'm going to give you the mantra of networking. If they know you, if they like you, and they trust you, they'll do business with you. And that's all part of the rapport building. But if you remember anything, remember that. If they know you, if they like you, if they trust you, they'll do business with you.
Brilliant, brilliant. And so I guess when you're helping people and you're helping whatever the age may be, and yet it's so true because I've seen someone who's a bit older, like actually, I think he's in his late 50s, and you talk to them and they're always on their phone. So, and I've seen a couple, who are well into their 70s at a table on their phone. So it's not something that we love so much in society to persecute generationally, but I think everyone can be a culprit. So what is the number one question that you get asked in your business, regardless of the generation or who it is? What's the question that people are wanting to know? How do I help improve my networking? I like you said there, know, like, and trust. But what's the number one
Mhm.
question that you get asked?
Well, people ask me, what am I doing wrong?
Hmm.
What am I doing wrong because I'm going to a networking event or I'm networking with an individual and I'm not getting anywhere? I'm not getting past that first cup of
Yeah.
coffee or anything like that. What am I doing wrong? And I said, well, how much time do you have?
Hmm.
Because that's, you have to get all the layers off and start from the beginning. And when I do workshops, I go into companies and things like that. And the CEO or really the head of training brings me in for a workshop, 3 or 4 hour workshop. And I tell them, it's great to be introduced, but the rapport building and the follow up is key. And people don't know how to do that. And they just think like, oh, I'm just going to email them or I'm just going to wait. I'm going to call them or something. Um, and that doesn't work. And I'll tell you the number one thing, and I've been doing this for 15 years now. The number one thing, I send a handwritten thank
Hmm.
you note.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Okay.
Yep.
So, because listen, how would you like it if you were sitting at your desk and all of a sudden you get mail?
Yeah. Yeah.
A piece of you freak out. It's like, oh, look at that. And I'll tell you a funny story. About 10 years ago, I was in the mortgage industry and I was managing a bunch of loan officers. I sent a thank you note to a realtor, and she was so amazed that she received the thank you note. She sent me back a thank you note for the thank you note. Okay. So,
Love it.
it really goes a long way. It really goes a long way.
Yeah, 100%. I've been doing that a lot lately, in my new position. And one of the things I found was, and I heard it from someone. I went, yeah, I'll start writing letters and just updating people. I'm in this new position, checking in with them, letting them know that I'm thinking of them. Um, and so many people would send me the photo. Some of them had like magnetic calendars in them with like the location that I'm living in, and people would send a photo of it up on the fridge, and I was really surprised, but they were all so amazed. And I thought, well, in the age of AI, in the age of digital, in the age
Yeah.
of, is it me talking to you, or is it one of my many, many associates pretending to be me? Um, you actually spending the time. And I think that's what it's showing. It's showing that you're taking the time. When you're listening to someone, you're taking the time. When you are networking, it's about taking the time and creating that space. And that leads me to another question would be, because I'm running these networking groups and we get different people in, and some people come in, they stay in, they're all for it. Other people come in and they try once or twice and they go. And you mentioned follow up, which is the mother to
Which
success
is
really. But
key. Yes.
yeah, well, what would you say to and I'd love to, because I'd love to share this to some of my network groups after we go live. But what would you say to people that come into network groups and they've got that mindset, and they might not have a lack or scarcity mindset, but we've all got that pressure and that urgency of our time, and they're considering, am I wasting my time networking here? This is an hour, this is a 2 hour event, this is, you know, where I think, hey, this is business building. This is the number one important thing to be doing in any business, is the business building. The admin, all those other things, they they're number, down the track, not number one. But what would you say to someone who's maybe going, is this a waste of my time? There doesn't seem to be any big hitters, or there's only 15 people in this room. There's not 200. What would you say to someone who's got that sort of mindset leading into networking engagements?
Well, yeah, there's a few alternatives. When you walk into a networking event and you know that time is not on your side, you think you want to get to as many people as possible, right? Wrong.
Yeah.
That's the absolute wrong idea. And I always say, because look, I was at a table with about 7 people, and a guy walked up to us and handed out his business card and said, look, I'll talk to each of you later on. I just want to introduce myself and I'll see you later, and
Yeah,
left.
not a big impact.
Okay. So I looked at the business card, I looked at everybody else around me, and I threw the card out. Okay. So I always say with a 3 or 4 hour networking event, if you hand out more than 10 cards, you spent not enough time. You didn't spend enough time with the person that you wanted to.
Mm,
Okay. So
those key
now
people.
when you walk up, yeah, you walk up and there's several conversations going on. And if it's a conversation that you feel you can contribute to, first listen, don't talk. Listen to the conversation. Okay. And if you can interject something of value, then they'll look at you because you're going in there and you're going to be perceived as the expert in your field. Okay, so if you say something stupid, that whole image goes away. Right. So now, what happens if you walk up to the table and they're talking about something completely different? Not even networking, about so and so's baby or whatever the case may be. You still listen. You say, okay, okay. Very politely excuse yourself and go to the next table. Okay, so that part is wasting your time, but you're not wasting your time. Okay, so when you're going and you're speaking with somebody, if you're doing your job, you gave your elevator speech and everything else, but you're saying something that they are interested in, they'll ask you for your card and you can give it to them. Okay, so it's very important that you listen and you understand. Now, here's the shocker with every networking event. Don't go there expecting to get business. Go there expecting to help whomever you're speaking with. So if I sat down with you at a few people around us, I said, okay, Kyle, what do you do? And you tell me, how can I be a salesman for you? How can I refer you? What can I say to somebody else who doesn't know you to say, you know what? You sound like you need Kyle. And what can I tell them to have them call you? And don't expect it back. You just expect to give, to give, to give, to give, and eventually it comes around. And you'll be known as the guy that, yes, he's the expert in his field, but you know what? He tried to help me. And that's the best way to get business.
Brilliant. I love that. I love that. I guess that leads me into my next question, which would be, what's one mistake that you made along your journey that, you'd advise others to avoid making that might save them time or money?
It's very simple. Very simple. I talk too much. Okay.
We've all
That's
made
where I
that.
learned. Yeah. I get in, I start talking about my business, about everything else.
Because we're excited. Yeah, we're amped. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have to learn to shut my mouth. So once I learned how to shut my mouth and listen, it's okay to hear people, but you have to actually listen to them. And when
Hear
you
that.
listen
Yeah.
to them, you see what they're all about.
Yeah.
But, when I say about the rapport building and things like that, you listen for those little things. Do they have a son or grandson? Are they
Mm.
playing little league, basketball? Is their daughter a softball player or something? I was a coach for 16 years. I was also an umpire. So I can talk to people about youth sports. And that usually breaks down the wall just a little bit,
Yeah.
and you get to talk with them. But the whole trick is don't talk, listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in today's day, like a absolute weapon for networking, like in a positive way, is exactly what you said. And in your mind, note taking specific elements and bringing them up again. Now, not bringing them up to be egotistical. I'm going to show you that I listen to you, but they'll say something and you go, oh yeah, no, I remember you mentioned your son has lots of headaches. I might know, or whatever it is. Like you showing that you actually paid attention and you actually did listen to them, you did hear them. Like I found it
Now
just blows
the whole
people
thing
away.
with the follow up, the whole thing with the follow up, you take their business card, you put the date down, You put the name of the event down
Mm.
and you write just a little something that you spoke about so that you have, because, by the end of the night, you spoke with 10, 15 people. So who talked to who did what? You don't remember. But you know what? You're when you got home, you send out your immediate emails. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You send out an email. Thank you for your time. I met you at so and so, this event. We spoke about your son playing baseball. That was great. I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you. La 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 la. Okay. Then the next morning, you take out your thank you notes and you write your thank you note. You put your business card in and you send it to them. And that's the way you start your follow up. That's not your whole follow up. That's where people usually end it. People don't even write the thank you notes, but they think that if they send an email once every 3 days, that's enough. When I was the manager for loan officers for a mortgage company, we had about 1,000 realtors in our county. Too much. So what am I do? Send them in a calendar? Everybody sends that. Everybody sends. So I had to think of something that nobody was going to send. So what did I send? I bought shot glasses and I put it in a little box and I said, just give me a shot.
Oh,
You know,
brilliant. I
just
love that.
just something, just something. And I got clients. Now, they didn't use me. I wasn't first tier, but I said, look, I don't care if you don't use me. Just if one of your three mortgage people falters, give me a shot.
Oh, brilliant. I love that.
And
That's
that
so good.
and that's the way, so it worked. It worked out really well.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the fun part. You can be creative with it, and those fun things, and also like remembering what people said, and following through on some of the, hey, you said like, hey, look, I'll connect you with this person, and actually following through. It's showing them that you're thinking about them outside of just the sale. And I think that's the big crux of networking and marketing and sales and connecting is if I think you're just here to get something, then I'm operating from that the whole time. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Absolutely. That's on
Yeah,
your head.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you do something that shows me, hey, you've got a mission. You care. This is a bigger thing for you. This is more deep to you. This is more about your character and why you're showing up, regardless of whether you get the sale or not. You're about service. You know, like when you mentioned your army, like where those sorts of things, like okay, and how your mother brought you up, and those sorts of things. It adds to the caliber of why you're doing something rather than just trying to get the sale.
Exactly. And if your main thought is to help somebody else get their business and the other person realizes that, they'll be more open to you to say, well, yeah, well, I do this. Well, I sell dishwasher detergent, I don't know. And, well, how can I help you?
Mm.
So when I talk to somebody, I can say, look, you need to speak with Kyle because his dish detergent is so much better. I bought it myself and it works fabulous. Here's his number. And then I would send you a quick email. I talked to Joe Blow and he may call you, may call you. So, but I just gave you a heads up that I'm still thinking about you.
I love it. And what's something that you've learned recently, I guess, in the networking world that could save us time and money, in our business ventures?
Be present. Be present. You have to be there. You have to listen. You have to pay attention. You just be present. You can't think about your next question while the other person is talking because you're missing what they're saying. You're only thinking about what your
Yeah.
next question is. So get all that out. Okay. Be present. Listen, because if you are that good at your position, at your job, at what you're selling, the next question is going to come.
Mm.
Okay. You listen to what they have to say and see about how something can be part of what they're saying.
Mm.
Okay. You want to give something that is important to the discussion that you're having, and that's it. That if you're present, if you'll do wonders.
And this, amen. I believe that it's so true. And it just makes for a more deeper, harmonious, like connective conversation when you're not listening to think, okay, what's the next question? What's the next question? And I think that rounds out everything that we were discussing in terms of, if you're really there, you'll naturally bring up, oh, this is what I do, or oh, like you said, you mentioned this is a pain point or whatever it is, because you're really there and you're really connecting, you're really wanting to serve and help, and it will come together,
Right.
rather than the
And
overthinking.
this circles back to what you first said about, well, is this a waste of my time? So it's not going to be a waste of your time if you do the networking correctly.
100%. And how can I've got a couple people in my network, and you know, some of them might see this, but some of them don't follow through on those opportunities. So we write down on slips, hey, I've got this person, hey, blah blah, this is who I want to connect you with. So we action it, kind of like you said about the business cards, and so we action
That's
it.
a
Yeah, and we
referral slip.
yeah, referral slip, exactly, referral slip, and then we hand it out during the meeting. We give everyone a template of how they can follow up, and some of them just struggle to follow up. Uh,
Do
some,
you
some of them might think that it's okay. This isn't a real referral, or this isn't a quality referral. Others might think, I don't know when I'm going to get around to it. But how would you prompt them or add urgency or a higher necessity for them to follow through on those slips?
we have a networking, it's BNI.
Yes, yes.
Um, oh, okay, if that's what it is.
Oh
So,
no,
you
I've
know,
been to BNI. This is a different one,
okay,
but yeah, yeah,
okay, but it's the same thing.
yeah, yeah. I've been a
Um,
part of BNI. Yeah,
when you're first of all, when you give the referral, it shouldn't just be because you have to. Okay,
exactly.
you have to truly find a good referral. If it's one of those, I'm just giving it to you because I need that number, to give you a certain amount of referrals, don't do it. Okay, because that is a waste of time. That's a waste of your time and a waste of the time that you're referring the person that you're referring.
Yep,
So then,
genuine.
I just got the referral. Okay, that's great. I have 3 hours to answer that referral. What do you mean 3 hours? 3 hours? I'm like tonight or by tomorrow? No, 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 no. It's over. This is over at 9 o'clock in the morning. You have until 12 o'clock to answer that referral, even if it's just, "Hi, this is Mike Forman. Kyle gave me your number. I'm right in the car right now, but I'll get back to you." That's just because you made that connection. I made the connection, and then I can call them later on in the day. Okay, but they have to make that first connection, and that will snowball forward. And then once the person gets back, they have to call because they said they're going to call them. So they're gonna call them, say, "Hey, look, hi, this is Michael. I just wanted to meet you for a cup of coffee." That's all. And it's amazing how many. Now this doesn't work every time, but it's good. Like, oh no, no, Kyle, said that you did this, you did this. They said, yeah, I know, and I I do it this way, and um, I find out what they do. It depends what I'm selling. I don't know. Um, but it all goes along with, you have to have a schedule of calling back your referrals.
Hmm.
3 hours to make that first contact. Then you make that the rest of the contact later on that night, or I'll call you back in the morning. So you call back in the morning. Then you see what the referral is all about. You have to, if they're not true to their follow-up in your groups, embarrass them. Embarrass them into thinking, like, why aren't I doing this? Embarrassment goes a long way. It depends because the people that I coach on networking and things like that, that's one of the things that I do. I embarrass them during a class to say, well, I don't know. You know, it's all in fun, but it makes them remember.
Yep, 100%. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that 3 hour rule next week when we meet to my network group.
And you
100%.
should have everybody
Yes.
networking unleashed. It's available on Amazon. Um, it's really you can use it as a guide on how to network. And during your networking group, you can refer to it, especially for your follow up and afterwards, and making networking a part of your weekly activity. Okay. Because the first one, you're not going to feel so good. The second one, you're going to get a little bit better. And then by the third one, fourth one, it's an old hat. You're fine. But expect to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and get better. But you have to make networking as a weekly activity.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you, Michael. And guys, I'd highly recommend going and grabbing that book on Amazon. We'll put it in the show notes. And we also want to find out where everyone else can find out more from you. I mean, firstly, with the book, a book is a very small amount of investment to winning some business, which could be thousands of dollars. And some of those businesses can put you in touch with other people, and it can just be a huge thing. So just a little bit of study time, a little bit of learning, a little bit of upfront money would go a long way in your networking career. And then you can have actually a bit of a system, a bit of a strategy compared to just going, all right, let me get a couple of drinks in me. Let me start feeling comfortable with people. You've got your own flow. So grab the book. We'll put it in the show notes. And also, where else can people find out a little bit more about you?
You go to my website, okay? It's michaelaforman.com. Okay, michaelaforman.com. On there, you'll see yourself as one of my podcasts, but you see about leadership, about networking, about things like that. But there's a contact form, and you just fill out that contact form, and I will get back in touch with you within 3 hours.
Brilliant. You do what you preach. 3 hour rule.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But it's very simple. And whether you buy the book or whether you contact me or anything else like that, um, I always tell usually the CEOs or the people in charge, if I can get the salespeople together and the support people, the people that answer the phones, that speak to the people right away, okay, if I can get everybody into a room, give them this workshop or this breakout session or something else like that, I'll guarantee you by next month you'll see an increase in your profits.
Love it. All right, guys, you know where to head to follow Michael and learn a little bit more and up your networking game. Thanks again for being here, Michael. And remember, as always, guys, to decide your destiny. Cheers.
Bye-bye.